The Korgis are a pop band best known for their 1980 hit single, Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime. And in a curious twist of fate, the Korgis have also penned a song about J. Robert Oppenheimer, the iconic father of the atomic bomb, called Oppenheimer Stuck in This Moment. And James and Al from the Korgis are with us here. How are you both today?
We're good. Good afternoon.
So, what inspired you to write a song about J. Robert Oppenheimer?
We have a co-writer who co-writes a couple of the songs on Cartoon World, and he sent me a little guitar figure which had a tune above it as well. And he said, "I haven't been able to do anything with this, and I've tried 3 times, and I failed every time, and never been happy with it." And so I just started messing about with some lyrics for it. And I kind of hit upon, I just thought it's such a calm kind of tune. And I thought, what could it be about, really? And I thought it could be about, you have a pivotal moment in your life where you just go, this is the defining moment, this is the defining moment. And I just started thinking about who would have a moment like that. And Oppenheimer sprung to mind. It could have been Einstein when he penned his E equals MC squared and the matter cannot be created and destroyed. But I thought at the time that Oppenheimer perfected his equation, and in his head, because he was a great scientist, in his head he knew it would work. Yeah. The test was just an afterthought for him. It's like he knew it would work, and so that moment must have been a revelatory moment to him. It might have been a scary moment as well, because he knew that he was able to unleash this enormous power. But at that time, it would be a point of stillness. And James and I both kind of all the way through this wanted to keep that feeling of stillness through the whole song. It's a kind of song that could be on the end of an album, but I think we always pictured it maybe in the middle of the album somewhere as like a still center with chaos all around it,
Yes. And there's actually a Christopher Nolan documentary type thing out called Oppenheimer, and it's about him. Is that just a coincidence that this song's out as well?
Yes, it is completely. Yeah, it is completely. We didn't know about the film. My daughter told me about the film. She said, do you know there's a film as well? And I went, no idea, But it seemed a good time to release it.
So how would you describe the musical style of it? Because I suppose the song that everybody knows you for, Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime, I suppose the vocal style is the same, but musically it's a little bit different.
It is a little bit different, very guitar-based, acoustic guitar-based, and 3-part harmonies right from the start of the song, which is quite unusual these days. But yeah, I really like that approach. I think that's what drew me when Al first played the idea to me. I think that's what attracted me, this thing about having harmonies coming in right at the start of a song and having it overlaid on an acoustic guitar sort of thing. Yeah. It's got something.
And for the lyrics, did you have to do any research? Because it's actually quite an educational song, isn't it? It teaches you a lot about it.
I did quite a bit of research, but I mean, my research was not exactly exhaustive. I would say it was Wikipedia. I had a little look at Wikipedia. Oh, Robert Oppenheimer. Yeah, what was his life like? But he was fascinating. If life had gone a different way, he would have actually just been jailed on a murder charge because he tried to poison his college professor with a deadly apple. He left it on his desk. Fortunately, his professor didn't eat it, but things would have turned out very differently. Yeah. And then when the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened, Oppenheimer never denounced that, but then he devoted the rest of his life to peace. So it was one of those characters that it's a bit hard to fathom, I think.
Strange, because he's one of these people that if his life had gone differently, the world as we know it would be quite different.
Interestingly, because of course the Germans had been racing to build the atom bomb.
Yes.
The heavy water plant, the dam busters, all of that was about killing their race for the A-bomb. And so, we might all be speaking German by now if Oppenheimer hadn't got there first.
Yes. Through the wonders of modern technology, you managed to get Oppenheimer to actually sing some parts in the video, didn't you?
Yes, isn't that clever?
Yes.
Again, this man beneath me on this Zoom link, Al Steele, he's got it all.
It was a couple of phone apps. There's a phone app called Revive, and it's like its main aim is like you can sing famous pop songs. You just stick your picture in there, and you can go, "I will always love you," and it's quite funny. But they introduced a new thing called lip sync, and basically they said you can lip sync your own song into it, and it will process it and do it. I immediately thought, "Oh, that's a good idea. What can we do with that then?" And so, yeah, that was it. It was as simple as that. I worked a little bit on a photograph, put it on green screen, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. And how does that work? Do you just kind of film yourself singing it and it replaces the face
into a phone? Yeah. So you just sing or speak into a microphone. I think I tried it various ways to get it to the face to look right. And I think I mainly sung. I realized that I really had to hold the length of notes for full length in order to get it to look right. The only little byproduct of it is it picks up on breathing, so it looks like in between lines that Oppenheimer is kind of mumbling to himself under his breath, where his lips kind of just move which is a bit disconcerting. But it all adds to that Cold War kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. You're both in the video as well as yourselves, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes. The three of us, actually. John can't join us today, but the three of us sing that 3-part harmony, and the idea being that it would be a bit Crosby, Stills and Nash, that kind of 3-part harmony of the 60s. So yeah, we're all in it.
Yeah. And how does it feel to be kind of seen in the way that you are in the video? Because I believe you started out as a band where at the time there were a lot of kind of studio bands where you didn't necessarily go out on a lot of tours. So is it good to be seen and videoed and stuff?
Yes, absolutely. And the funny thing is that before that whole concept of let's be a studio band and not go out and appear before public, we'd all been doing hundreds of gigs in various other bands. So it was a kind of like a rest period. We thought, what a nice idea, not having to bother about going traveling up and down the country again. We can just sort of stay in the studio all the time for a while anyway. But yes, so that was the idea behind that. But we've always been a touring sort of, appearing before the public kind of band, really. So we're just getting back to that.
Do you find that when you're out seeing the public, the reception is good?
Oh, it's ecstatic. Every single gig, a sellout. If only. We do have such a loyal bunch of, a loyal fan base. We always say, 10% off merch for anyone that's at the gig and all that sort of stuff. And we get people going, I don't want 10% off. I want to pay the full price.
Yeah, wow.
It's that sort of audience, We wish there were a lot more of them. We could do with another 100,000 of them. But the ones that come to the gigs are our best, and most loyal supporters. We couldn't ask for better, really.
Back in the day, I suppose you could have maybe survived without doing tours, whereas these days, it's kind of where you make your money, isn't it?
It is. Times have changed radically. In fact, everything has become the opposite, really, of what it used to be. Because in the old days, it was just a matter of selling records, and that was how you made your living. But now, as you've just said, these days, to make any kind of living from music, you have to be out performing the whole time, which is great. I mean, we all love it, but it's strange how things have turned around.
I think, James, you said to me when we released the last album, a song like "Bringing Back the Spirit of Love," if we'd released that in the early 80s, it would have automatically been a hit. Because there seemed to be a through line. You write a good song, you produce a good single, it will be a hit. It's a bit like The Truth Will Out. And those days are gone. It is all about how much you promote, how much you can get yourself out there as to how many you sell. So it's a very strange thing. So the gigs is another way to get yourself out there.
And you're still releasing albums and singles. Do you think there's still a place for that? Because even though you're not going to make as much money from it anymore, is there still a reason to do it?
I think
Good question. Good question. I think I have a nostalgia for the old days of making albums. I love albums, really. So I hope we can continue doing it. But it's a good point. Yeah.
I think with Cartoon World, we decided that we would go down the route of making a big, lavish package, of making something that was like, we released it on vinyl. It was looked like a big double thing. We had a couple of posters in the side and everything. So, and everyone that has commented on has gone, oh man, the packaging is just so nice. It's just really nice to hold. And so we wanted that, a bit of return to the fact that you can have something to hold in this digital age where you can't hold Spotify. You can't hold a Spotify song. What can you do? You need to do something else with it. I mean, I'm thinking maybe we need to release some physical packaging to go with the digital stuff, because I think people are craving it. You know, they really are craving it.
Do you find that maybe particularly your fans, I suppose fans of 80s music and earlier generally, are more likely to want a physical copy?
They're more likely to be dying very soon now. Yeah, I thought that's where you were going with that. Yeah, undoubtedly, people from the 80s and 90s are still hankering after the physical thing of having an object, a CD or something. And yes, I mean, why not? I mean, I like it too. It's a shame, really, that streaming is really sort of become the all-conquering monster that it has, I think.
Yeah.
I've got two younger daughters, though, and both of them collect vinyl. I mean, they've raided my vinyl collection, I will say, but both of them collect vinyl. They both have record decks, and they're like 22 and 26. So it isn't just an old person's thing. It's the young people who are also looking back at it and going, oh, that was cool, wasn't it? Those big covers. I think they're missing something that's physical,
Yeah.
Things go around, don't they?
And have your children got any of your songs on vinyl?
My kids, no.
Yeah, mine do. In fact, my youngest daughter designed all the cartoons for Cartoon World, so she's an artist. She does that. And on a new song that we're just releasing, actually all our families are going to be on the song, because it's a song about families who emigrated to Australia as a series of letters. Oh, wow. So this Sunday we're doing a recording where it really is a family affair. Fathers and daughters are all kind of going to be on this song. That's another story, though.
Yeah, that sounds so exciting. So how did you kind of develop your unique sound in those kind of early days? Because to mention the song again that's always attached to you, Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime, it's quite dreamy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think actually it was pretty exceptional amongst all the other tracks we were recording in those days. Even then, it was just like an oddity which took off, because the other tracks we did were all, all over the place stylistically, but it was all very electronic based in those days. So Everybody's Got to Learn was definitely an exception. There was another song we did called If I Had You, which was a hit in the UK, which was another sort of big pop sort of production thingy. And Everybody's Got to Learn was definitely something on its own, and we've never sort of attempted to really do something like it again. I think it's one of those one-off songs that you can't recapitulate, really. It is what it is.
Yeah. And what was it like to have such big success with that song?
It was strange, very odd, because after all the years that we'd all been working in the music business and not really getting anywhere, suddenly it was all transformed overnight, sort of thing, and amazing. I mean, I had no idea that radio stations would pick up on it like they did. I thought it was a good track, but I thought it would just go the way of all the other tracks we'd ever released, one or two plays on Radio Inverness or something, and that would be it. But amazingly, the sort of main radio stations went wild about it. And it was very strange. It took some getting used to.
What was the collaborative songwriting process, both like during that time and recently?
The recent albums are very collaborative in the fact that the three main people in the Korgis, who are the three singers, I mean, James and John are the main singers. I pitch in every now and then. They let me every now and then. We all will have ideas. So John starts some ideas, I start some ideas, James starts some ideas. And occasionally we have other co-writers that might, like this Oppenheimer thing where Chris Hopkins, our friend, just threw us this idea and said, what do you think of this? And the more we worked on it, the more we liked it. So this one in particular, Chris came with the first idea. I wrote some lyrics to it, and then James and I got together and wrote the middle eight, the very odd middle eight that becomes even more still. And this was something that we always felt about it. We didn't want, James is going, oh, do you think we should? And I'm thinking, yeah, but it should be less rather than more. And he went, yeah, that's right, less rather than more. And so we wrote that strange middle eight that almost stops, just has some kind of odd chords and almost stops, and then comes back in with this still kind of quite slow, kind of calm thing. So that's what happened with this one. Everyone is a different journey. There are some things that John originates, and then James might write a verse. Often I will come in and pitch in some kind of off-the-wall lyrics because we're trying to get away from just writing a collection of pop songs. We're trying to write songs that are more relevant to today. That there are lots of things happening. And I always say, if you can't find anything to write about as a songwriter in this day and age, then you got problems. You need to give up, really. So back to the early days, James. How was your collaborations then?
Well, not so free-flowing, I would say. It was more a question. I had my own sort of... I mean, remember, we were very young then. We're going back 40 years or something. So we were still young and developing, really, as people and as musicians. And I had my ideas, and, the other guys, in the studio at the time had their ideas. And somehow we got, we worked on songs and got somewhere, but it certainly wasn't as free flowing as it is today, and as easy. And it was a bit more sort of everyone had their own egos in those days and wanted to make sure, they were the main act in the group. So it wasn't so comfortable then.
I think that's an interesting point, isn't it? That I think the reason that we find it so easy is because we really do leave our egos at the door. It's not about who wrote what. It's just about making the best product. And I will say that we're probably about the quickest songwriters on the planet, I reckon. Because I mean, a point in case there was one song, and I said, James, we haven't got a verse for this yet, and he said, I got to go in 10 minutes, but should we do it now? We did, and within 10 minutes it was done. And that is kind of the way we work. I think that middle eight of Oppenheimer, we worked on it for about 35 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. All those odd chords and the lyrics and everything were all just done. We're quick. I think as you get older, as long as you're doing it right, then things should get easier because you have more knowledge to base things on. You could go, we could go there or we could go there. But as long as you're focused about it, you usually know where you should go with it. You just go, that's the idea, move on, next one.
Yes. And you mentioned that it's sort of easy to write songs about things going on in this day and age. I haven't been on the planet that long, but in my experience, it's always been crazy political times. So I feel like maybe it always has been. And particularly during the 80s, there was stuff going on. So have you always found inspiration from the world throughout the last 40 or so years?
Oh, well, I don't think I was very influenced by political stuff in the 80s when I was writing then. I think I think that the world has gone through so many radical changes, hasn't it, since those times? And it just seems to be more sort of in your face and in the news the whole time these days, doesn't it, what's going on? So you can't really escape from it. And so it is different these days, I think.
I think having lived through, that early time, I mean, I was in school in the early 70s and knowing what it was like there, there was always political turbulence. But you never felt that the politicians were crooks. And I think that's the feeling today, is that most of the politicians are crooks. Half of them are multimillionaires. And these are the people that are speaking for us. So I think it's more outrageous these days. And because there's so much more fake stuff going on, it's fake news. You have no idea what's real and what isn't. And certainly, you get things like Partygate. It's like, Well, we all knew that was real, didn't we? From the beginning, we all knew what had happened. But denial. I think it is worse than it's ever been. And with all the new technology, with the bots on social media and all of that sort of stuff, it's only got worse. You know, it's playing into the hands of the people that want to abuse it, really.
Yes, absolutely. Well, are you working on anything at the moment? Maybe a bigger album or more singles, and any shows coming up?
Definitely working on stuff. Yes, a bigger album. That is a good phrase to use for where we're at, really, because we've got about 25 or 30 ideas that are kind of in different stages of being finished. And so we're just pondering whether to release one album or release a double album, or one album followed by another one 6 months later or something. A tricky one, but it's fun having so many ideas to play around with.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ideas as well. I think there's a lot of competition for what if it's going to be two albums, what would be on the first album and what wouldn't, and whether we can tie those up. I mean, there's a song we've only just begun to work on called Prison Break. And we have a kind of a loose philosophy that the new album would be locationally based. So every song would be in a location. You know, Oppenheimer is, California at the Atomic Energy Commission. That's where it's based. So you can stick a pin in the map and say it's that. So if all of those songs are locationally based, this was another idea of Chris Hopkins, where he went, Prison Break, I got this idea. And I quickly stuck a verse down for it. And I went, well, this is all very well, but where is it? Which prison is it? We need to find. And he kind of went, it should be Alcatraz. And I went, has anyone ever escaped from Alcatraz? And he went, yeah, there's a couple of people that escaped, but they were never found. So no one knows whether they drowned or not. And so maybe the idea is, maybe that song goes on the first album, but on the second album, at the end, we'll just do a little recap and we'll catch up with these two guys in South America, sipping caipirinha in Brazil. And that will be the end of that little story,
Yeah, that's good. It pays off if you listen to the whole album.
That's the idea.
Yes. Well, where are we able to keep up to date with you? And of course, find this new Oppenheimer song, which is out now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a digital single only. It's on all the digital outputs. It will be on a physical product sooner or later, but at the moment it's digital. So yeah, your normal Spotify, Apple Music, all of those places. It'll be on YouTube. We're just about to put the full video up on our YouTube channel, which is YouTube, the Korgis, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
You can catch up with us on thekorgis.com is our website. That's easy to remember as well.
Yeah.
And Facebook pages, Twitter pages. We're dabbling in TikTok. Don't like it very much, but Instagram, all of those. We're on all of them. We're pretty easy to find.
Excellent. Well, many thanks to you both for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, likewise.